Hi y'all, and welcome back to At Our Modern Farmhouse with Cat and Pat. I want to talk to you today about lighting in your home. To tie into lighting, we also want to talk about controls today. What I've got laid out here are some different lamp types that we're currently using in our house today. You may be using some of these same lamps or lamp types in your home as well, but I also wanted to talk about the different types of loads that are out there today. There's incandescent, which has been around for a long time. That's incorporated here. You might see these in your incandescent A19. This is the A19 base. This works in pretty much any lamp, chandelier, no matter what you have. It might fit in that category. So um, there's also halogen. This is a halogen lamp, which means it has a different filament inside. As you can see, the two different filaments that are in these two lamps, it's probably a little harder to see, but there's a tiny wire in here. That's the filament that actually glows when 120 volts put to it. And here it's a little bit different. You've got a capsulated halogen or a capsulated filament inside of this halogen lamp. That's another load type. Another load type that we're not seeing a whole lot of anymore, it was around for a little bit. It was kind of the first energy savings lamp that came out, which was CFL or compact fluorescent. We currently do not have any. I never used them, not a big fan of them. Maybe you have them and don't like them. Sometimes you turn those on, they look purple. You don't get a consistent look throughout the house. We just never decided to use them. We've always used incandescent. That was until they came out with LED. LED is a light emitting diode. You see them a lot these days. You may see them in a screw-in replacement lamp for your tabletop lamps, your chandeliers. You may see them replacing your can lights. This is a BR30. This is an incandescent lamp that would go into a can light. A lot of people are replacing their can lights with LEDs these days. They do make LED screw-in replacements. Let's talk a little bit about the varieties, though, of the incandescent family here. This is a vintage style. We really like the vintage style in our house. Here, basically, I want to grab this other one. No, sorry. These are basically the same shape of vintage lamp. One is incandescent and one is LED, though. We like the warm look in here. Some of these, this is a clear one. This kind of has an amber coat to it, which gives it a little softer look, but it also doesn't put off as much light. So anytime you use that amber coating, you're not going to get as many lumens out of the lamp. So it's going to be a little darker. A lot of different varieties in shapes, sizes, a lot of different ones to pick from. So it's kind of to your taste, what works best in your fixture. As you can see up here in this particular fixture, we're using a vintage lamp in this style. We just thought it really looked good with this chandelier, this rope hung chandelier. As Kathy goes around it, she comes back. You can see the LED, or this is a incandescent. You can see that spiraled filament inside of there. Over here, I put an LED version of that same design, and you can see that it's a little bit different. So they put off that warm, like 2000 Kelvin. These are basically like a 60 watt, vintage lamp. This replaces a 60 watt, but only uses 5 in the LED. So you get a lot of energy savings there. What's your taste? Do you want LED? Do you want incandescent? So let's move over to the can light side of the lighting in your home. Pretty much every home is going to have can lights somewhere. We try to incorporate a lot of can lights in our house, but we also wanted a lot of fixtures that hung. So we do like chandeliers. We have several chandeliers. We also wanted to incorporate sconces, so we did a lot of sconces in here. We want different levels of lighting. We want some high because we want them up in the ceiling. We want them down low on our tables. We want them hanging over our tables. We want them on the walls. So we just incorporate a lot of different variety of fixtures in our home. So like we're gonna go back to that can light again. So this is that BR65. It's a 65 or 60 watt BR style A19. We're currently using these. I have not currently found an LED can that I like that gets warm enough for us. So we're still using incandescent in our cans. Maybe you want to use LED. There's several different ways you can do LED right now in a can. You could buy one of these trims, pull out your incandescent trim, and then this would slide up into the can that's in the ceiling. These will typically come with a little connector. You would plug it in, and then this would screw into that base that's in that can. Then you'd slide that up into your can, and you just converted your can to LED. Maybe you have a junction box, just a junction box in the ceiling. You got something that's a little more low profile. This is an LED disc. This would mount into that junction box and mount up to your ceiling. So that's another form of ceiling type LED or LED slash or a fixture for your ceiling. Maybe you're using LED tape. These are a couple examples of LED tape. You see this quite often. It's quite common. It's just an LED tape. It's got the sticky back on it. You can buy it, cut it to lengths. We're currently using this in our kitchen, under our cabinets, and above our cabinets to wash the ceiling. We're using it in our bookshelves to wash bottom and top of our bookshelves. And then if you saw our video on washing our stone wall in our bathroom, we used an LED strip. This is basically a fixture or a extrusion here with an LED strip inside of it. That's what we use. So there's a little bit of variety here. You know, this fixture here I kind of wanted to go over with you because we have some areas in our house. We have an unfinished basement currently, and it's been unfinished since we moved in. That just wasn't bright enough. I think they put 4 lamps down there, 4 keyless down there with some A19s in it. It just needed more light. Same thing with our garage. Typically what they're gonna do is they're gonna put some A19s in there on some keyless and switch them. If you wanna make it like a shop and you want more light, there's companies out there making these kind of fixtures that basically you take out your A19, you screw this in, and you basically have a shop light. So instead of installing shop lights and rewiring, you could basically just unscrew your A19, screw in this light, and you got, you know, a lot more light to work with. So that's an option that you might want to work with in those areas particularly. So when it comes to lighting, you know, how are you going to control it? Are you going to switch it? Are you going to dim it? Are you working on a single pole switch? Are you multi-location dimming? Do you want to dim it wirelessly? Do you want to dim it from the location? Over here I have a couple options of controls to look at, so we can kind of go over those. So maybe you're just switching all the lights in your house on and off, and so you've got a switch in your house. This is a Decor style rocker switch. On and off is the only function that this switch provides. You might have this in a 3-way application where you turn this on one end of the hall, you walk to the other end, and you can turn it off from there. So you get that 3-way application functionality. You may be dimming it. You may be dimming it with a mechanical dimmer that might look similar to this, that has an on-off and it has a little slider to the side. You might be using a mechanical dimmer that has just a regular toggle switch that you're used to with a little slider on and off. That's a mechanical switch, so you're basically turning the load on, turning the load off. If you have that in a 3-way application though, you're not getting full function of dimming and the whole circuit there. So if I turn this on and dim it over here and I go to my 3-way switch, the only function I'm getting is on and off. So I can't dim from that 3rd location. That's where digital dimming comes into play. And that's pretty much all we're using in our house is digital dimming. This is a couple representations of digital dimmers. Over here we have a Lutron dimmer. This is the Maestro digital dimmer. Right here we have the Legrand Harmony digital dimmer. And then we have the Legrand Harmony remote dimmer. So what's a little bit different about a digital dimmer is the fact that it's actually it always has trickles voltage through it. First and foremost, you're never really turning the circuit on and off. But what you get out of this is when you tap this switch, The LED lights will go up here on the side, giving you your light level. You can dim by rocking this little bar back and forth. Pretty cool. You can use this in a single application. You can use it in a 3-way. You can use it in a 4-way. How you do that is using a remote dimmer. So there's in 3-wire, you have 3 wires in there basically. So you're going to use the 3rd wire, which we're calling the traveler. That traveler will hook into here, into this remote dimmer, and that will actually give me full dimming from every location that I have a traveler. So I can dim here on, or turn on and off, dim here, then I can walk down my hallway and then I can dim the lights back down. Now the difference between these two, they look the same pretty much. The difference is the master is going to have these LEDs that'll be on the side, and I'll show you these here in a minute lit up. So you'll have LEDs on the side, and then at night when it's off, it has a little LED right at the top that indicates that that's it on the wall. Just helps it stand out a little bit. So we've got single pole switching mechanical, or 3-way switching, no matter, depending on what your application is. We have digital dimming up to, you know, really, I think it's like 10 or 9 locations that you can do digital dimming through. You know, Lutron, Legrand, no matter what your flavor is. And then there's another control out there that we're currently using, and that is the Lutron Caseta. So we have about, this is the app. This is the Lutron Caseta app, and this is currently our house. So these are all, as you can see, we've got kitchen, living room, table lamp, Pico. There's all these different locations in our house that are controlled via this app. So if you see that little blue light lit up there that says My Home, it's a dining room lamp table. I'll let Kathy kind of pan up. I'll take the phone up here with her. So that lamp that's over there is controlled on this phone. I'll tap it and I'll turn it off. Turn it back on. And you can see that when I do that, that light comes on. It turns blue on my phone to show you that that light is either on or off. I can dim from here, raise and lower, and it pretty much works seamlessly. We use this a lot here. You can set scenes up here for when you're traveling, away scenes, home scenes, no matter what it might be. All controlled off of your phone. Now how that happens is there's a little, what they call a bridge, that would mount to your router or next to your router, plugs into your router via Cat5. You program it through Lutron, you download the app, and then you start setting up your system in your house. Like I said, we've got about 35 locations here that are controlled by this app. The latest app release they sent out, I think, ups it to 75 controllable on the system, which is pretty awesome. So we like that. We like the Legrand. We've had great success with them. You know, no real failures or issues with any of them. One thing I do want to talk about with you guys though is compatibility. So there's issues when dimming LED. So there's manufacturers out there, several manufacturers making LED lamps. Incandescent, really, you have no issues with incandescent whatsoever. They dim flawlessly every time. You get full range from 1 to 100. Smooth, there's no issues. With LED, you might have issues because not every dimmer is compatible with an LED lamp, and you're gonna have some issues. I'm gonna walk over here and I'm gonna show you we don't really have any compatibility issues here, but I'm gonna show you the difference that the LED looks like, or the variance between the incandescent and the LED. Let me just drop this down all the way. So if you come back over here, a little closer, you can see I'm down as far as this dimmer will go, and I'm pretty low, and you can still see I've got that nice soft glow with the incandescent, which is what we like. When you come over to the LED, it drops it even lower, and we personally don't like that. So we are using more of the vintage style incandescent than we are LED. We use a lot of the LED outside on the exterior of our house, but in here we're using the incandescent vintage versus the incandescent LED. So one thing to note, make sure you check the lamp that you're looking at. If you go to Home Depot or you go to the big box store, Lowe's, or what it might be, they're usually going to have a compatibility list on the back of that box. It's going to kind of give you a chart of whose lamp or whose dimmer they maybe tested it with. So that gives you an idea of what you need to look for. So if you want to see these digital controls on the wall, let's walk over here. So I'll ramp this back up. So these are the harmonies from Legrand. And as you can see, they've got the indicator lights on them. So right there, they're at full bright. I can tap them both and they'll drop down. Tap them again, they'll go up. Let's just drop this one down to, let's say 50%. Drop that one down to there. So when I turn these off and then turn them back on, they're going to go to that last preset level, which is pretty cool. Now, if I want to go to full bright, I can either tap this, take it all the way up, or I can double tap and it'll go to full bright. Pretty cool. That's why we really like them. They're stylish. They've got the lights on them. They indicate where that that level's at. So we really like them. So I hope this kind of clarified a little bit about lighting in your home and how to use it, where to use it. You know, not everybody's the same. We like that warm tone. That's what we've used here. It just goes with our house, the rustic walls, everything that we built into this house. Just the vintage works for us. We do use a lot of LED as well on this tape side of it, but you know, not so much in just the regular incandescent or the brighter LEDs. So I hope that helped. If you've got any comments that you want to leave below, or if you've got any questions, feel free, because I'd love to answer them for you. But don't forget to subscribe, like, hit that like button, and let us know how we're doing. So hope that helped, and we'll see you next time.